Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 Pioneer cards in Wilds of Eldraine. I'm really excited to bring the list to you. Little couple things before we hop into it here. So, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Wilds of Eldraine is going to have a huge impact on Pioneer. It's not a, sometimes in sets, specific cards come out that like make a whole new deck or a strategy or anything like that. And I don't think Wilds of Eldraine is like that at all. I think it's just a lot of different decks are getting, additional pieces, needed upgrades, that kind of thing. I don't think there's really any cards that are going to make a whole new deck for the most part, if that makes sense. So, okay. And then obviously before we hop into it here, this is like my personal list. This is cards that, I think will have an impact on the format, whether or not it's small or big, that kind of thing. So, all right. So, number 10, we're going to hop right into it here. I have the Iron Crag, kind of an interesting card in general. The main reason I put it on here is it's a 2-mana mana rock. Yes, it is legendary, so it's not quite as good as like Mind Stone or anything like that, but the potential upside's pretty good. I mean, like late game, you play a legend and then you can turn this into an equipment, which seems pretty solid. So I was actually just talking about, like before the set spoilers were coming, I'm like, man, we don't have any 2-mana mana rocks in this format, and now we do in the Iron Crag. So I don't know how much impact it's going to have, but I think it does have a lot of potential. All right, so number 9, I've got the Man Land. So I decided to put Restless Cottage here just because I think it is the best one of the Man Lands, but as a whole, I always love it when they print new dual lands for the format. I wish they had put in the other, I don't remember, I'm really bad with the ally and enemy colors, but essentially, we had this cycle in Battle for Zendikar, like we had the Lumbering Falls, the blue-green one, we had, oh god, what was it? It was the Wandering Fumarole, that kind of thing. We had the Hissing Quagmire, which was this color. I kind of wish they would have done the other half of the Manlands in Pioneer, because the other colors don't have one yet, but I imagine we're probably going to get them very soon, and I'm really happy that they put more Manlands in the format. Alright, number 8, I have Regal Buttercorn, which I don't know how good this card is going to be in Pioneer. Is this card going to see play? Absolutely, yes. People are definitely going to play this in Pioneer. Again, I'm not sure how good this thing is. It has the potential to be just super duper big. I mean, like, late game, it's like, oh, I'm going to play this 2-mana, and it's a 7/7, that kind of thing. Obviously, it doesn't have trample or anything like that, so you can easily give it trample. You're in white, you could splash white with like green or something, give it trample, whatever. You could do quite a lot with Regal Buttercorn. I'm really interested to see where this card's going to go. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about Regal Buttercorn? I think this card's pretty cool. A couple of years ago, I would have thought this card was broken, but now I'm like, yeah, it's par for the course. That's just that's just how Magic is now. So, all right, that's my number 8. Number 7, I have Werewolf Bodyguard. I think this card is fantastic. So, if this would have been a human or something, this card would have been absolutely cracked. It's an Elf Fox Knight. So, the only relevant creature type, at least for white on here, is Knight. Obviously, elves are very good, but it's white. Elves are not typically white. They're like green or Golgari. So for Knights though, I think this is fantastic. I think if you're playing a Knight deck in Pioneer, I think this card, you should probably play in at least like 3 copies of this thing. It's just better Brutal Cathar, in my opinion. And Brutal Cathar sees a ton of play because it's a human, it's able to exile their thing. I think this card is absolutely fantastic. So, Werewolf Bodyguard is my number 7. Alright, number 6, I have the Elusive Otter, one of the new adventure cards from the new set. I think this card is very, very cool. I know at least my local friend group has been talking a ton about this card. Really, like, the adventure side of it is kind of just like bonus if you draw it late game, And then obviously, 1/1-for-1 prowess, creatures with power less than Elusive Otter's power can't block it, which means you can't chump block this thing. So, Elusive Otter, I think it's going to be good in Pioneer. I don't know, like probably the prowess decks probably want a card like this most likely, but I'm not sure though. So, we'll see, but Elusive Otter is my number 6 on the list. Alright, so now we're getting top 5 territory here. Number 5, I have Spell Stutter, but not really just Spell Stutter. I kind of put in all of the fairy cards in here. So that's like the -3/-3 one, a couple of the new fairies that they printed. This is just in general, I'm very happy they decided to put a bunch of the fairies in Pioneer. It's one of the few creature types in Magic that I feel like hadn't really been represented as well in Pioneer quite yet, and that was obviously, that just changed. Is it still missing pieces? Absolutely. They're still missing a couple cards for the deck to be very good, but if you want to build a fairy deck in Pioneer, you can build a fairy deck in Pioneer, which is very, very cool. So I'm very happy about that. My favorite card of that was Spell Stutter, so that's why I decided to put that as the number 5 on here. And then number 4, we have Mosswood Dreadnite. I think this card is absolutely fantastic. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about it. I just think this card is very, very powerful. You know, obviously the adventure side, drawing a card and losing a life, and then when it dies, you may cast it from your graveyard as an adventure until the end of your next turn. So it dies, you're like, all right, cool, draw a card, lose a life to cast it, and then you play it again, and you just keep churning through your deck. It's so hard to get rid of it. It's a 3/2 with trample. You gotta exile it. That's like the only way you can get rid of this thing is just by exiling. So I think Mosswood Dreadnite's gonna be very, very strong in the format. I know I've been working on a couple lists with Mosswood Dreadnite, so definitely keep an eye out for that for an upcoming deck tech with this card. I think it's gonna be very, very strong. All right, number 3, we have Decadent. I think it's Decadent Dragon. I think that Decadent Dragon, whatever. I think this card's very, very good. So obviously the adventure side of it is strong, and then on the other side, 4/4 flying trample. When it attacks, create a treasure token. Pretty strong effect. The main reason I really like this card is Obosh lists. So with Obosh lists, obviously you have to play cards with odd converted mana cost. And this is an odd converted mana cost because you add the 4 and the 3, obviously makes 7. So it's like Obosh lists get a 4-drop dragon, or just a 4-drop in general, which is very, very strong. So that way, you don't hit 4. I mean, obviously you can play things on 4 mana, that kind of thing. But I think Decadent Dragon's going to be very strong. A lot of people are saying that this is the best card in the set, and I'm not quite sure on that. I do play a ton of dragons, so typically, it's something I really explore. But only time will tell, but I'm very excited to be able to play this card. All right, number two. My second best card in the format that I think is going to be coming out is Balloona Grand Squall. So I'm very excited about this card because, my brother in particular loves Temur Adventures. Like, it's one of his favorite decks he likes to play. And this card is just like, it was made for Temur Adventure. Like, this is the perfect card. So what I talked about in the beginning of, cards that, nothing, no new cards really came from this set, to help build a new deck. This is the one exception. Temur Adventures was kind of already a deck, but this was the perfect card that it needed. So you got the Seek Thrill side of it, which is fantastic. Mill 7, then put all adventures in your hand, which, okay, sure. And then obviously you get the other side, 4/4 for 3 trample. Permanent spells you cast that have an adventure cost 1 less to cast. So this card is fantastic for the Temur Adventures deck. I mean, it's exactly what you want. I mean, what's not to like about it? It's a great body on it, trample, relevant text, so that way when you play your Bone Crusher Giants and your Lovestruck Beasts, they cost less. And then the Seek Thrills, if you top deck it late game, you can just draw a whole bunch of cards off this thing. So, Balloona Grand Squall, fantastic card. Wizards of the Coast, they get an A+ for printing this card. So, okay, number 1. What's the best card that I think is going to be for the format? And you want to know what? I'm sure everybody expects this. I don't think it's really a surprise to anybody. It is Beseech the Mirror. This card is going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm going to lose to this card so much in Pioneer. I don't even think any of you guys realize. So obviously, what does it do? 1 black, black, black. Sorcery with Bargain. Search your library for a card, exile it face down, then shuffle. If the spell was bargained, you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. If that spell's mana value is 4 less, put the exiled card into your hand if it wasn't cast this way. So, obviously, it's Diabolic Tutor, but if it's CMC 4 less, or mana value, you just cast it. So that means you can be grabbing board wipes like a Languish or an Eat to Extinction, or you can be grabbing a Shieldred. You can grab what else? Black. What else could you play with this? But I know the main thing is like Shieldred and then like a board wipe. Those are like the main appeals. You can grab like a Sorin the Merciless. I don't even know. You could grab any just silly 4 or 3 or whatever you think is going to be good. You can just grab that. So I think Beseech the Mirror is going to be fantastic. I don't know if Rakdos midrange is going to play this. They probably should. The tricky part, though, is the bargain. Obviously, you have to have an artifact, enchantment, or token to sacrifice. But wait, guess what? Rakdos midrange, they're making blood tokens with their blood tithe harvesters. They're making, you can even sacrifice your, if you need to in a pinch, you can sacrifice your Fable of the Mirror Breaker. You can sacrifice, if you're playing Golgari midrange, sacrifice a clue with your Tireless Tracker. Oh, and by the way, if you sacrifice a clue with Tireless Tracker, then with the Beseech the Mirror, you cast it, then you still put a +1/+1 counter on your Tireless Tracker. Like, this card is absolutely insane. Tons of synergy potential. I think Beseech the Mirror is going to be the best card in Pioneer from the set, and I don't think it is close. So, alrighty, that is my top 10 list for Wilds of Eldraine. Let me know in the comment section below. What do you think about the list? What is your personal top 10 list? Just let me know in the comment section below. Also, what cards are you excited to brew around in this set? Just let me know below. So, alright, I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.